Alright, so the police show up, and it's me, my mom, my sister, my daughter. I think that a friend of ours, Bryce, was there, and they question us about what happened. They take pictures of things. I had scratches on like the underside of my arm. It's for my dog. I got two huskies. One's extra rambunctious, and he got out, and I chased him and tackled him down a hill and carrying him back like this. He like slipped his one side through my arms and scratched my arm. But they took pictures of that. They took pictures of some sandals that Amber had left there. Mind you, half of what this girl owned was still in my house. I brought a bunch of stuff over there, but she didn't. I still have stuff in storage to this day, and all kinds of stuff of hers. And a lot of it she never came and got. I haven't thrown it away because that's stuff she can't get back. I don't want to do that. I'm getting off track, but the police showed up. They questioned me briefly. They basically told me what Amber was saying, and what Amber was saying was that I had choked her for 3 minutes. I don't really understand what she's saying because it just doesn't make sense. It's not possible. She threw her ass at my mom, and I went to the bathroom and cried until she left. But the cops go to leave, and I question them. I was really anxious. If you've watched these other videos, you probably know by now. I don't. They make me anxious. I've been to jail. I don't. When they come around, I'm like, I've thrown up before when they left. So I ask him, I'm like, well, what is going on? Like, am I going to jail? What is happening with this? And he says, he doesn't know. He's just doing his report like he's supposed to, and he's going to turn it into his superiors. So it kind of left it up in the air, and that's what I said to him. I said, so basically, I could get arrested later or now, or you don't know? He said, yeah. And then he left. And this is where, like, my life really started to go downhill. The next event, it was later on in September. Amber was still living in her apartment. A lot of people had told me over the months following that, oh, just don't worry. If they were going to arrest you, they would have done it that day. It weighed on my mind a lot. Mostly just because of the threat she made. She told me she was going to try and get me thrown in prison for the rest of my life, as she's put it. But later that month, she invited me over to her apartment to see Kira. My daughter went from living with me every day and Amber back to the initial court order that was made when we got divorced, being Wednesdays, afternoons, and every other weekend. That's what the courts gave me. It was 8 days a month. But she had contacted me and was like, Kira wants to see you. Do you want to come over and hang out with Kira? So I did. And I brought eggs and bacon for the next morning so I could make them both breakfast. I wasn't just the breadwinner. I cooked for these girls. I did everything for these girls. So it's what I'm used to doing. And it's what I was going to do. I went over there. Me and Kira watched. Amber kind of seemed like argumentative when I got there. So I just went upstairs to Kira's room and we watched movies, fell asleep. The next morning I got up to make breakfast. I had the bacon in my hands and I was asking Amber where the pots and pans were. She told me, well, you should know you did all the dishes, because I did. When I moved her in, I did her dishes, but she hadn't cooked there yet, so she didn't use any pots and pans. There was no pots and pans that were dirty. So I didn't know where they were, and that's what I told her. I was like, I don't know where you put them. There was none dirty yet. And she got mad and threw her whole glass of milk at me and said she was calling the police. I went outside, covered in milk, holding the bacon, sat down on the front steps of our apartment and waited for the police to show up. Police showed up. I told them what happened. They're like, well, you should just get out of here, I guess. So I don't know. I wanted them to check on Kira because Kira was freaking out. Kira's kind of traumatized of me going to jail. Um, Rightfully so. I've been to jail. I went to jail for a year. I was out of her life for a year. So when her mom says stuff about me going to jail, it really upsets her. So I asked the cops to check on Kira. I sat out of the car with my mom. We ended up leaving, come back to my place. Cops said everything was fine. The Kira was okay. That I wasn't going to go to jail. But nothing was being done. The next incident, pretty similar. It would have been on around the end of September. And she invited me over to see Kira again. As soon as I got there, she had seemed argumentative. So, like I normally would do, I went right upstairs to Kira. And me and Kira were trying to do her nails. I'm not very good at this. I put one on crooked. It ended up being a whole issue. We had to try and get it off. But Amber had gotten upset. I don't know why. Me and Kira were just up there laughing and goofing off and doing her nails. But she got upset and started screaming and demanding that we both left. And me and Kira both left her house. And by now, it had gotten pretty late. She probably invited me over around 10, got there around 11. It was probably midnight, 1 o'clock by the time she snapped and was like, you guys need to get out of my house. And she kicked me and Kira out. And I begged and pleaded. I told her, don't make Kira leave. If you want me to leave, I'll just leave. I'll go walk home. I don't live very far. It's like a mile away. But Kira does not need to be out here walking around. And she just kept screaming, threatening to call cops. Kira said, Dad, let's just go. So we left, and the whole time we were walking from her apartment, out of her apartments, like down the little driveway or whatever, Kira and I both were messaging her saying, I made Kira ask her, can I just stay, Mom? I don't want to leave. Because I just didn't want Kira out walking around like that. She never responded. Me and Kira did. We walked to my place. I lived in a trailer park. As soon as we got to the entrance of the trailer park, we heard her car come flying down the road. It was really loud. Like I said earlier, her car has had a lot of problems. Kira got scared. Kira said, Dad, let's go hide in these bushes by Kenny's house. I said, no, Kira, we are not hiding. You are safe here. This is my house. She cannot just come up in here. Let's just go to my house. And so me and Kira started walking to my place. Amber flew past us, whipped into the trailer park, into my driveway. And Kira got scared again as we come around the corner and see her in the driveway. She said, Dad, no, I don't want to go there. She's just going to come in there and yell. Or I don't know. She was scared. And I said, no, Kira, she won't. Let's go in the back door. We went in the back door. I rushed up to the front to lock the front door. When I did, Amber came bursting through the back door. I had a little small vanity there. It didn't have the mirror on it. It was something that Amber had left and not taken with her when she left. She threw that down the hallway, started screaming. Kira freaked out. My friend Bryce had scooped her up and kind of moved to the kitchen with her to get her away from it. Told her it was okay. I rushed to the hallway. I said, Amber, you cannot come in here doing this. You're scaring the fuck out of Kira. You need to leave now. And she was screaming, talking about, you stole my phone and my keys and my cigarettes. And immediately I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You drove here, so there's your keys. They're probably in your fucking pocket. Me and Kira have been messaging you since you kicked us both out of your house, and I bought your cigarettes. If I stole them, I would have to buy you more. And she just kept screaming, and I told her, I was like, well, I'm sorry, Amber, you're making me do this. And I called the cops. She screamed she couldn't believe that I was doing that. Went out to her car. Police showed up. I told them everything that had happened. She was in her car with it on, running, and the cops asked me, they're like, well, do you think she's been drinking? I said, I don't know. She's acting kind of fucking out there. I think it's worth looking into. And they said, oh, okay. So are you going to go breathalyze or anything? Oh, no, we would have to catch her like around the corner driving her car. That's what the cop told me. And at this point, I said, well, what can I do to prevent this? I don't want her coming over here and causing problems again. I don't want nothing done. There needs to be something done about this because again, I'm fucking terrified over her accusation she made and going to jail. And so they tell me that they can add her to a no trespass list where she's not allowed to be there. They were supposed to have done that. They didn't. And come October 25th, she was at my house. This was a little bit different. My daughter had reached out to me crying. She said, Dad, I don't have any clean clothes. I said, why not, Kira? She said, well, Mom's not doing laundry. I said, well, have your mom get a hold of me. I'll do your guys' laundry. And I had Amber bring over all their laundry. I had it all done in baskets, folded in my living room, and she came over to get it. Now, I was doing Halloween stuff with my kids, so it was kind of like family type stuff. And Amber had gotten kind of like sweet on me. And we ended up on the couch together. I was laying across the couch. She was sitting upright with my head in her lap. And the next thing I knew, she was spraying me in the face with Resolve. It's like a carpet cleaning stuff. Your dog makes a mess on the floor, foams, it's chemicals. I didn't even see it coming. I didn't see her grab it. My eyes were closed. My head was in her lap. And the next thing I know, I just felt. I felt the burn and the pressure from the aerosol. And I just clenched my face and reached out where it was coming from. And I pulled it out of her hand. And I stood up and walked towards the center of the living room. I think I threw it. I kept that can for a long time. I had it for a long time. But I threw the can and I started doing like this. I told her, get out. Get out of my house right now. You need to leave right now. And once I cleared my eyes enough where I felt like I could open them, I looked around and she was gone. And then I heard the back bedroom door shut. Like, what the fuck? So I go back there and I open the door and she has Kira's glass of water and she throws water in my face. Kira's sitting right here on the bed in the bedroom that I just walked into. And I've got chemicals around my face. And when she threw the water, it splashed chemicals back in my eyes. So I turned around, I pulled my shirt off, and I wiped my face off good. And I was saying, you need to leave, Amber. Get out of my fucking house. And I look, and she's gone. And next thing I notice, I see I have a stand-up air conditioner in the bathroom, and there's a little window. It's literally like the hose is this big, and it just fits in there. It's above the toilet. And it's like decent height, but it's small. And I had that hose hooked up to that small window to heat the back of the trailer. It comes flying up into the view because I had like a walk-in bathroom in this bedroom. And I seen the hose come flying out. I'm like, what are you fucking doing? She says, I'm leaving. You told me to leave. I said, most people use the front fucking door. Because that was when it dawned. You're trying to leave through this small window above my toilet in the back of this trailer. And she comes out of the bathroom. She starts swinging her purse and hitting me with her purse. I tried to grab for it to stop her from hitting me with it. And I think it broke a strap or something. Stuff came out of her purse. I said, get out now. And I started yelling. I'm mad now. I'm like, get out of here. I told you to leave the front door. And she says, well, what about all my stuff? I said, I will get it. I will set it outside for you. You need to leave now or I'm calling the police. And she listened to this time. I think because she was under the impression there was no trespass. There couldn't have been because she didn't go to jail for this. She wasn't supposed to be there. She was really only supposed to be there to pick up this clothes for her and Kira. And I had a video of this. I gave it to the attorney I ended up getting. You'll hear about him later. His name's Tyler Villio. I gave him this video of her getting her stuff off my porch. Now, fast forward, 2 days later, I'm arrested. And I'm arrested for the accusation she made in September after that pool party. I thought it was my aunt at the door My Aunt Chelsea was supposed to be coming over. I swung the door wide open. I seen it was a cop, and I was smiling at first because I thought that was my aunt. I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And then I opened the door and I seen it was a cop. I'm like, "Oh, oh gosh, is everything okay? Can I help you?" And he says, "Broderick, step outside." I was like, "Oh God, you're here for me? Why? What did I do?" And he says, "Remember that domestic back in July or September or whatever?" And I was like, "Oh my God, they're picking that up." Like I said, I'd been fearful of this since it happened. I kind of turned into a hermit. I quit leaving my fucking house. It worked out well because I worked from home. I didn't have to leave. Um, but yeah, so I step outside, and my daughter is over at my mom's. Uh, Her friend, I think her name is Lacey. No, that's her cousin. She had a friend over, um, that was hanging out with her at my mom's, and so I told the cop. I said, "Well, look, it's my time with my daughter. I need to reach out to my mom and let her know what is going on." And he already had me cuffed, and my friend brought me my phone, and the cop held it while I fucking hit it with my nose trying to call my mom. And I did, and my mom rushed over there, and she told this cop, Officer Killingbeck, she told him about what had happened 2 days prior with the Resolve, where she sprayed me in the face, hit me with her purse, and then I was put into the cop car, taken to the jail, and when I got into the jail, the cop started questioning me about that event. I told him everything I just said to you about what had happened 2 days prior on October 25th when she came to get her laundry. I then bond out of jail. I get a lawyer, Tyler Villio, to represent me on this case. We paid him $5,000. We were supposed to pay him another $5,000 once it was all said and done. And then my bond was big. It was like $35,000, 10% down. Like we spent a lot of money on this, and then so I was really worried. I felt like the best thing for me to do was not to leave the house. If I stay home, I'll stay out of trouble. I won't. There's no way for me to mess up this bond, and my mom will get that money back. Well, it didn't matter. A month later, I would say on or around November 3rd, cops showed up and arrested me again. The cop that arrested me, this was like 1 in the morning, maybe midnight. I was hanging out with my mom's boyfriend Adam, just kicking it around the table. And the cop he had a hard time explaining what I was being arrested for. He said it was for resisting arrest. Now that lawyer Tyler Villio warned me. He said, "I went into your probable cause conference and they didn't realize that I was your lawyer yet. And they were in there talking with another lawyer. And when I got in there, they said, oh yeah, we're going to have to reschedule this. We're adding charges." And the cop that was arresting me, it didn't really make sense. He was saying that it seemed like another domestic had occurred the same day I was arrested on October 27th. I get to the jail. They end up letting me bond out again. I thought it was weird. I didn't think you were supposed to be able to bond out twice, but they did. And that's when I get an email from Tyler Villio with the police reports for my charges. The first being the accusation she made in September, and the second one for the police report that I made with the police when I told them about her spraying me with chemicals. And on that police report, I'm listed as the victim. She's listed as the offender. The offense is listed as assault. The weapon used in this act was listed as other, and they wrote in purse and resolve. They tried to question her. She didn't answer the door the first time. The second time they did get to talk to her. And her story was that I was laying on the couch with her with my head, and she pointed this out, that my head was in her arms. And my eyes were closed. I didn't see this coming. She said that I said something along the lines of never wanting to let her go. And so she grabbed the can in fear that I would not let her go. She said she grabbed this can of Resolve and sprayed me on the top/back of my head, which is a lie. I was laying on my back with my head in her lap. You can't spray underneath my head. She sprayed it right in my fucking eyes. And that is what I was being arrested for the second time.